Hello and welcome to another edition of Scorecard on Citi TV. My name is Gabi Ofer, and I'm sitting in for your regular host, Benjamin Nketia. It's a wet Sunday, but we still got lots of football highlights to show you from all the way from the weekend, from Friday to now. We've got really, really good games that have come up from the weekend. We've got Ghana Premier League highlights. There's the CAF Champions League, Medeama Sporting Club. They were in action over the weekend on Saturday, actually, against Al Ahly. Some say, yeah, it was a respectable scoreline, but we'll see if it was actually a good scoreline for Medeama Sporting Club. Dreams FC, they were also in action earlier today. They played at 1 p.m. and they lost to Club Africain of Tunisia. We'll get into that in a bit. Also, the English Premier League over the weekend on Saturday, we had our third roadshow of the season at the Blackberry Lounge inside Spintex, and the guys were here. They witnessed good food, good drinks. They met lovely people, and big shout out to everybody who turned out at the Blackberry Lounge. So, I mean, it's really a pack of great highlights we have for you today, right on Citi TV. We've got some more highlights. That's from the Newcastle loss win over Chelsea at the St. James's Park. All of that coming up. But the guys are here. There's Edwin Kwakofi and also Sedinam Edmond. Let me just welcome them before we take a quick break, and then we'll get into the analysis. Hi, Edwin.
Hello, Gabi. It's good to be here.
Good to see you.
After a break last week.
Sei?
What's good? I don't know why you're laughing.
Oh, Charlie, you're looking good, though.
Oh, thank you.
All right. I mean, Edwin, let's start with our third road show at the Blackberry Lounge. It was a good one. The people at Blackberry were really excited to see us, and you could tell from the people who trooped in to come see the City sports team. Lovely people out there.
I was excited to be there. As you said, we've already held 2 road shows. This third one was just as good as the other ones in terms of the game quality that we had covered. We had 3 games on Saturday, which is a rarity. 2 teams who were top-notch teams. We had a huge shock, as I would say, and then Arsenal going top of the league. It doesn't get any better than that. And the service at the Blackberry Lounge was some of the best I have experienced at a public place in a very long time. It just makes me want to go back. And the fans, the people who showed up, they made it such an exciting experience. The banter, the shouting when the goal goes in.
If you need an assist.
If you need an assist, call Palmer. That's the first I heard of it. And
I was telling somebody that, look, that guy actually put a lot of pressure on Palmer. I mean, if Palmer was anywhere closer to where we were at the Blackberry Lounge at Spintex, I'm sure the pressure would get to him because he was all over. He was really confident Palmer would get an assist for Chelsea.
I get that, but if Palmer had been anywhere near the Blackberry Lounge, he'd be inspired by the atmosphere there to perform better than he did against Newcastle. Overall, it was a fantastic experience, and honestly, I can't wait for the next roadshow. It's become a part of my calendar that I just mark down. I'm looking forward to all the time.
Yeah. Sadi, you were not there. You were with us today in studio. There was we had 2 games. So the first was Tottenham taking on Aston Villa, and then the Goodison Park game where we had Everton also taking on Manchester United. But we'll get into that game in a bit. But quick thoughts, roadshow. I mean, I think you were with us at the +233 Jazz Bar and Grill.
Yes.
Yeah. So you have a fair idea about how we do our things.
Certainly.
I mean, quick thoughts on that.
Charlie, it's always an experience to go to a roadshow because you get to meet a lot of new people that, hey, I don't know you from Adam. We start talking and someone's little mishap in the game brings people together. That's how important the roadshow is. It's a unifier. Football, they say, is a unifier, and City Roadshow it's much of more encompassing all that football brings to bear on the pitch. It's always a great time to hang out with the guys.
You should join us at our next roadshow.
Oh, certainly we'll be there.
He missed a lot. He doesn't know exactly what he missed.
Because you can't miss out on a roadshow. The roadshow, that's where you meet your people, like your lovely people. You get it.
Something happened. We'll talk about it later.
Yeah, people meet their spouses, your chuchumuncho, your better half. So you cannot miss out. Edwin knows what
Yes, I met some interesting people there. It was an interesting experience.
Interesting experience. Do you want to share with us, or we should just end it here?
In a few years, we'll see. I'll come and testify.
Hey.
Okay. All right, so that's Edwin Kwakofi and setting up Edmond with what actually happened at the Blackberry Lounge. And it was our third row show. We're there from what, 12 to some bit of around 8 p.m. that way, because we started with the early kickoff, that game between Manchester City and Liverpool, that ended in a 1-0 draw. And then Chelsea, Newcastle United put 4 past them. And then the final game was between Brentford and Arsenal at the Brentford Community Stadium. But we'll take a quick break. When we come back, we'll start with the CAF Champions League highlights, where Medeama, they lost to Al Ahly. This is Citi TV. My name is Gabi Ofer. Welcome back. This is Citi TV, and this is our Scorecard. It's another edition of our Scorecard, sitting in for your regular host, Benjamin Nketia. My name is Gabi Ofer. I'm here with Edwin Kwakofi and also Sedinam Edmond. Let's start the show off with the CAF Champions League. On the Saturday, it was the first group game for Medeama Sporting Club. They came up against the defending champions, Al Ahly, at the Al Salam Stadium. Remember that Al Ahly are not playing at their home turf because it's currently undergoing some bit of a renovation. So they played that game at the Al Salam Stadium. Let's cut that highlights. When we come back, then we get into the analysis. All right, so that's how it ended. Medeama Sporting Club tasting defeat. They lost to Al Ahly by 3-0. In the first half, I mean, it was goalless, and I was thinking that Medeama would bring a point at least home. But the second half was a different story. Some say it was a lapse in concentration. Others say Al Ahly just wanted to see what Medeama do have up their sleeves. But the guys are here. Edwin, I mean, I was thinking that it was going to be a very... So Al Ahly taking Medeama to the cleaners, but 3-0 against Medeama, I mean, I think it's a good start for them. How would you want to put it?
Well, I wouldn't exactly describe it as a good start. I feel that first half, they showed a lot of quality. They showed a lot of intent. They basically matched Al Ahly boot for boot in the first 25 minutes, 30 minutes of the first half. And it was looking good for Medeama. It was looking good for Ghana, that we have a team that can match up to one of the North African teams, Al Ahly, who have won the tournament for quite a while. But you could tell in the second half that the exertions in the first half affected them after the break. They were tired. The players couldn't track runners anymore. The players couldn't win 50-50 balls. They weren't challenging for every single tackle like they did in the first half. And because of that, Al Ahly took control of the game. They were passing around a lot more freely, a lot more fluidly, attacking really quickly, as we saw there, one counter-attack where Medeama's defenders were unable to keep up with them. They had to take a last-ditch tackle for a goal not to be scored. When you go to such venues, the last thing you need to do is make silly mistakes. And I feel that for at least the first 2 goals, Medeama made some poor errors that really cost them. The first one, a set piece. You've dealt with the first ball, headed it out of the box. I think the defenders were too focused on dealing with the player who was about to take the shot or the cross, and forgot that there were other players in the box that they had to mark. So they left one player basically unmarked. There were 4 players who were running towards the player who crossed the ball. They left the goal scorer unmarked in the box, and he had a free header into the back of the net. The second one, we saw an obvious error from the defender, tried to play out from the back, mistakenly handed it over to the opponent, and it was up in the back of the net after a few seconds. You've got to look at the Medeama performance and say that you are encouraged by how they started the game, but how they finished it would probably be a worry for Evan Sadote. He's looking at his team and wondering whether they can match up to the rest of the continent in terms of intensity for 90 minutes. And honestly, I didn't see that here. But hopefully it turns up in the rest of the games. I'd like to credit the goalkeeper for Medeama, Felix Che. He had a superb performance, made some wonderful saves in the first half and also in the second half. unfortunately, he couldn't keep out of the ball. I think that if you look at it, you might be worried that it was 3-0, a bad result, a heavy defeat in your first game in the competition. But it was their first game in the competition. They against possibly the toughest side they could face in the competition. You were going to expect some nerves, especially in that second half when Ahali came at them quite a bit. But when teams go into such competitions, they pen games down in which they can afford to lose. I feel that this is one game that Medeama would have penned down and said that 3 points, we didn't get it, but we are not going to lose sleep over this. We are just going to move on, take lessons from this. When they come to Ghana and we play them at the Babaya Sports Stadium, we make note of these lessons, we learn from them, and then we attack them, we correct them, and then possibly get a win. I feel that looking at how they performed in that first half, they showed enough quality that we should expect them to win all 3 home games, even against Al Ahly. I don't think Al Ahly played very well. They showed that they can be beaten, especially in that first half.
Yeah.
If Medeama are taking a few of those opportunities, we might be talking about a very different game. But it was a good performance, not the best results, not the best end to the such a good performance, but I am encouraged by what I've seen. Going forward, I think they're possibly going to get a few wins on the board, and who knows, the quarterfinals might just be in sight for them.
Wow, that's a big call from Edwin to see Medeama Sporting Club get to the quarterfinals. But Sadi, if you are, if I put you in the shoes of Evans Sogesin-Adote, who is the head coach, and you look at this result against Al Ahly, I mean, obviously one of the big guns in African football, like Edwin rightly mentioned, defending champions are coming up against them. Because, to be honest, I was thinking that they were going to be beaten, especially see a very big scoreline, 6-0 or something of that sort. But 3-0 is a respectable. What are some of the things that you would look to correct heading into that big game against them? Because their next clash is against Seattle Belouizdad on Friday, December 1st at the Babara Sports Stadium.
Yeah. Listen, it's really important that as a coach, you know that there are phases to a game. There's the opening phase of a game where teams come out gun blazing, trying to get a goal, trying to destabilize whatever you just told the lads before stepping out onto the pitch.
Yeah.
Those are the kind of first 20 minutes. When you weather that storm, then the game enters another phase. For me, if I were to be the coach of Medeama, it's really simple. The in-game management needs to be spot on. It looks like the first half, the in-game management was great. That is how come they were able to get the result, 0-0, half-time. Now, you go into the second half. In the second half, against a big opponent like Al Ahly, you know that you need to weather the storm, push the game 0-0 as far as you can, so that in the latter stages, you throw the kitchen sink and everything at them to try and get that one goal, snatch and grab and leave. If I were him, I don't think I'll start making changes in the 60th minute if all the boys are fit.
Okay.
If they are all fit.
So you are saying that the changes he did played a part in.
Because let's look at the timing of the changes and the coming of the goals. Data or the timing basically shows us that the second change came in at the 61st minute. And then in the same 60-something minutes, there's a first goal. And from there, then, the boys drop their head.
Yeah.
Which is very, very bad. So, tactically, I think he tried to tweak something which did not work.
But that did not work for him.
Tried to tweak something which did not work. Bringing it home to the next game. For me, I would look at it as a do-or-die affair. We are winning it at every possible cost. Seriously, because...
Against Seattle Belouizdad?
It's going to be a very difficult game, but you've got to find a way to win. If you don't win your second game at home, then I'm sorry, what are you going to do in the competition? Are you going to be able to beat Al Ahly at home? Is that a possibility for you? Looking at your first half performance, that should be the stepping stone. You should go on to bigger things. And I also think that the quality of opposition that's in the GPL for them to play has accounted for this particular loss.
Okay.
Because if you are playing quality opposition, it helps you, the technical person, to be more adept and then change in-game situations to suit your team. But if you play teams that are subpar and are not able to deliver and live up to expectation and raise the quality that is needed on the African continent, when you meet the likes of El Ali, you might put a good show in the first half and then go to sleep in the second half and be walloped.
Guys, so let's quickly talk about Dreams FC. They also played a North African opponent, this time around Club African. Dreams conceded, I think, by minute 19. It was just done. And they had a record, 59th minute, Abdou Jalilu was sent off, but they managed to hold Club African to just that 2-0 scoreline they put in the first half. So by minute 5, they conceded the first goal. Minute 19, they conceded the second for them. I mean, Edwin, quick one on that.
Look, it was a poor start from Dreams, no doubt about it. Conceding 2 goals in the opening 20 minutes, it's unacceptable, especially on the African continent. When you're playing at the highest level, you expect teams to come at you, especially when you're playing away from home. So when you let them in so easily, you have to look at yourself and tell yourself that this can't happen again. What I'm impressed by was the fact that they didn't let their heads drop after that.
Okay.
They didn't concede further. They tightened things up at the back. They tightened up even more after they got that red card in the second half. And they played a low block, restricted Club African to long shots from outside the box. They didn't allow them to just pass their way into the box as they did for the first couple of goals. I feel that going forward, they'll look at this performance and say, we played really well in the second half. Can we translate it into the first half for the 90 minutes?
Okay.
Or even can we get a good 75 minutes from our players? And I feel they can. Okay. And probably when they play in Ghana, they'll have the fans behind them. They'll have home advantage. So maybe they'll perform better. They'll start the game better. The good starts are very important in such games. Just like Medeama, I feel that this is a game against a really top team away from home in Tunisia, that they would have said, okay, maybe if we get a draw from this, it's a good result. If we lose, we are not going to think too much about it. We'll wait for them, bring them home, where we can assure that we have the quality to beat them. I think in their next game is a must-win.
Yeah.
Once you lose 2 games in a row, things start looking very, very difficult. It becomes a huge mountain you have to surmount. And I feel that Dreams will go into their next game knowing that a win is necessary.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, so speaking of Dreams, their next game, they play Rivers United from Nigeria on December 3, 2023. So we'll be keeping tabs on that. For Medeama Sporting Club, this time around, they welcome Algerian champion Sierra Belouizdad to the Baba Yara Sports Stadium in Kumasi. And that should be big for Medeama. That's on December 1. Let's see how they fare. I mean, you should get to the stadium and go and support them because it's of a big interest to the nation. So just head there and go support. But speaking of the Baba Yara Sports Stadium, one team that plays there but did not play there this weekend is Kumasi Asante Kotoko. This time around, they had to go to Soga Kope to go pick up 3 big points against Legon Cities at the Soga Kope Park. Yes, so they lost. Legon Cities lost by 3-1. They actually scored the first goal, and then Kumasi Asante Kotoko came back to get 3 big goals against them. Let's check out the highlights when we come back, and then we get into that. All right, so Stephen Dese Mukwala in the thick of things for Kumasi Asante Kotoko. He got his second goal, and then Isaac Opon with the icing on the cake for the Porcupine. So it's back-to-back wins for Kumasi Asante Kotoko, and assistant coach David Oklu says that the head coach Prosperity Ogum did a very good pep talk to the boys, and then that engineered the win. Edwin, quick one, back-to-back wins for Kotoko. They didn't start too well this season. I think around March day 8, they were lurking around the relegation zone, but they've picked up very good wins.
Really quick one before I get to Kotoko. Very impressed with that free kick. I think we are seeing a lot more teams use those set piece situations really well. This one, there was no intricate movement, but the technique with how he got over the wall, down and into the back of the net was very impressive for me. So yeah, just a quick point on that. But for Kotoko, it's a very good win. Coming from behind is not easy. Coming from behind when you are not playing
And
at home.
it's something that's really rare in the Ghana Premier League.
Really,
Because you
really
find the
rare.
home teams, you find the home clubs winning all their home games. It's very difficult for you to see a team winning away, especially in the Ghana Premier League. You don't see that happening often.
But this away win obviously comes with an asterisk because this is not really Legon City's home ground.
Yeah, that's true.
It's in Sogakope,
Their
so
home
it's
ground, yeah.
basically a neutral ground, if in technicality. But Kotoko will be happy. They won't care. It's an away win all the same. 2 wins in a row. With the talk that was going around the team, you were wondering whether it would get to the players. It did initially get to the players, performing really subpar for a few games. The head coach, Prosper Nati Ogum, came out, said a few things about some players. People weren't happy with what was going on at the club. But it seems they've just put their heads down and are going. This is a Kotoko team that you know that there's a lot of quality in the team.
Okay.
It might be a young squad. It might be a squad that you wouldn't, the names don't roll off the tongue like they used to.
Yeah.
But you saw Mukwala in there, very, very good performance from him.
You look at the squad Ogum had in his first stint. The likes of Fabio Gama,
Yes.
Frank
Much
Mbele,
better.
If you want to compare them to this current squad, there's a huge gap in quality.
There's really a huge gap in quality. But when this Kotoko team gets going in games, they are really difficult to stop. You see some really intricate passing movements. I wasn't sure about it earlier in the season, but I think the players, once they've had more training sessions behind them with Nate Ogum on the training pitch, they are beginning to string these passes together, create really good attacking situations, and we saw a few of them in this game. Now it's about maintaining the intensity, maintaining the momentum and the consistency. We've seen teams fall off a little bit in the recent weeks. Even Adriana, who seemed
they lost
impossible to beat, they've lost their last 2 games in the Ghana Premier League, although they are still top. So you need to maintain a little level of consistency if you are going to stay up there. And right now, you can say that you can see Kotoko doing it, but what is on paper is rarely what happens. So we live to see whether they can continue.
Okay, now let's get to Kotoko's biggest rivals, Accra Hearts of Oak. They played at the Accra Sports Stadium against Bekum Chelsea. After sacking Martin Koopman, they are yet to actually lose. They beat Accra Lions at the Accra Sports Stadium, and then they were held to a 1-0 draw against Bekum Chelsea at the Accra Sports Stadium. Let's check out the highlights. And what was that from the goalkeeper, Bekum Chelsea? I mean, I don't think his head coach will be really excited with him. That's Christopher Enning, because that was really poor goalkeeping. Edwin?
Yeah, very poor goalkeeping. I did not expect that. If you are going in for a tackle, you make sure that you put a lot behind it. He didn't, and he allowed an easy goal. I'm sure Hearts of Oak will be pleased because Bekum Chelsea were in very good form. They've won 4 of their last 5. This was the draw that ruined the run for them. So they are in very good form, and Hearts of Oak aren't in good form. Regardless of what you might say, they've not lost since Koopman was sacked. But it's 1 win in 5. They've drawn their other 4. That's not good form for any team.
So it's not like
they are performing.
Yeah, something has actually changed.
Yeah, it hasn't changed.
Results
yet,
have still not come.
At least they are not losing, which is good for them, I think. But for Accra of Folk, you expect them to win games, and playing this way against Bekum Chelsea, it's not going to get you a win. You need to start taking your chances when you get them, and I don't think they've done enough of that so far this season.
Sadi?
Seriously, you see, we have issues in the GPL that we need to take a look at.
What are they?
Yeah, 2 weeks ago, I watched a game involving Gold Stars. Their goalkeeper was flapping all over the place as if he had never, quote unquote, been to training before. Look, when you're a goalkeeper, and you are in such a situation, there are two things involved. Either you make yourself big.
Yeah. To block away the shot.
To block the
Not even
post.
allowing your opponent so much space and time to think.
That is it. Make yourself big.
Yeah.
What we just saw there by Bekum Chelsea's goalkeeper is making yourself small. He literally came up to the attacker and then closed himself
He didn't even make a
up.
movement. He didn't make any movement. It wasn't like he was trying to grab the ball.
No, he closed his leg to give more access to the striker to score the goal, which is painful. You see, we sit here and then we advocate for players of the GPL to be part of the Black Stars.
Yeah.
But at this rate, such advocacy would and should stop. Because the performances are not living up to what would necessitate us calling for them into the Black Stars. The Black Stars have got a very big issue in goalkeeping area. Now look across the GPL. Who is there? Normally,
that's really a good point.
You see, normally, when we are going for competitions, they always call one person from the local league, especially
the
goalkeeper.
The last local goalkeeper to make it to the Black Star squad, that's Kotoko's Ibrahim Dalad. I don't know what's wrong. I don't know what's happening to him.
And even look at his performance. Look at Danlad's performance. It's becoming unbecoming. Or is it an issue with the technical side of things? Are the goalkeeping coaches not up to the task? We need to ask ourselves all these questions. But as for Hasselhoff, look, I always have this theory that before you sack a coach, you know who is coming in and you know where the club is going to go. Till now, we have heard certain names being rumored. We've heard people being called by big men of Hasselhoff. I'm not going to mention anyone's name to spread further rumors. But the earlier they bring in a technical head to charge and take this team on the right path, it is going to be better for them. Because they also want to get back into the Champions League and be part. Imagine you are playing a test run for the African Super League and none of Ghana's big clubs are part of it.
Yeah, that's true.
It's painful. It's painful. You have the likes of TP Mazembe. Like when Kotoko were Kotoko, when Haas were doing their things, where was TP Mazembe? We have left ourselves open. And look, Gabby, everybody watching saw the difference in the play, the two games that were shown.
Yeah.
Look at the quality of the Sogakope pitch and look at the quality of the Accra Sports Stadium. It all impacts on the kind of play you get. The goalkeeper can say, for all you know, can say that, the ball was bubbling. That's why I could not catch it.
Yeah.
Such excuses. He would say it. You have nothing but to accept it. But the goalkeeping in the GP, back to that one again, it's really bad. And something needs to be done about it.
Okay.
Generally, the quality of play needs to be improved. And for quality of play to be improved, the pitches must be improved as well. We need to find a way to improve our pitches. It's really bad that you find a Kotoko team going away to win. And we all sit here and say it's weird for it to happen in the league. But it's not weird when it happens in the EPL, in the Spanish La Liga. That means there's a problem somewhere. There's a big problem somewhere that we need to tackle. And it's equally affecting, like I said earlier, the quality that we are putting out in the Champions League is being affected by such things. Look, free kicks keep going in this season, and I am loving it. Because they are dead ball situations. Wouldn't it be beautiful? Should we get all our teams spreading play beautifully? Through pass on the pitch, the ball is running beautifully on the turf. And then a low cross.
Someone taps in, cool. It won't happen.
You see?
Will it happen? It won't happen.
Diving header, you might hurt yourself for the rest of the season if you try that.
We saw a very good I was telling Edwin today at In Studio, our radio dialogue. We've watched the Ghana Premier League so many times. Have you seen somebody scoring a bicycle kick in the Ghana Premier League before?
in the Ghana Premier
Ever
League.
since you started following the Ghana Premier League, have you seen someone, a striker, a proper striker? Let's end it here.
No, but look at how we even play.
Yeah.
How we play, how would the build-up be for us to get that overhead?
That's a good point.
Because we are always cramping ourselves into spaces. Open up the play. Or if you're going to play a low block, play it so that we see you are playing a low block. But we cramp ourselves and do trying to do aputumpata to enter the pool, which is not fair. It's not fair.
Okay. I mean, speaking of goalkeepers doing what, how should I put it? All sorts of things on the pitch. Also at the Etihad Stadium, we had one goalkeeper also doing his things. Liverpool's Alisson Becker, in that early kickoff fixture between Manchester City and Liverpool. It was Erling Haaland. He scored the first goal for Manchester City. His 50th Premier League goal in 48 games. The first player to ever do it in the Premier League history. The Norwegian just keeps on breaking record. It was actually 2 records that were on the table, and it was all on City side. City were looking to go 24 games unbeaten in all competition at the Etihad Stadium for the very first time. The last club to do that was Sunderland in 1892. I'm sure the people who did it, they are all dead by this time. But let's get to the Etihad Stadium and check out the highlights of that game involving Manchester City versus Liverpool. That's a clean hit from Trent Alexander-Arnold to give Liverpool a point at Etihad Stadium. So it was Erling Haaland who first got the goal for Manchester City, scoring his 50th goal, Premier League goal for Manchester City in the Premier League. I mean, and that was one of our games at a roadshow that started us at the Blackberry Lounge. And Edwin, I mean, I was thinking City were going to blaze Liverpool. The last time they played at Etihad Stadium, they ended 4-1 for Manchester City.
Look, and that's how it was heading towards, I felt, after City got that opening goal. Actually, the first half was almost entirely City's, apart from that Nunes chance, which was saved by Edison. I felt City had complete control of the game. Passing-wise, in midfield, they were dominant. Up front, they showed a lot of threats in the final third of the pitch. I felt in defense, they had complete control of that Liverpool attack, primarily because the Liverpool forwards, all 3 of them did not show up. Salah did not have a good first half. Darwin Núñez, his movement was impressive, but even he did not have the best first halves. And Jota was terrible in that game, you have to say. And once you have one player on one side of the pitch who is not having his best day, it means City were free to push, overload the other half of the pitch, which made Salah's job even tougher. They were able to push more centre backs into his direction, stifle any play on that side. Anytime play was switched to Jota's side, he either had a bad touch, he couldn't progress the ball. He had a really poor first half. So it was no surprise when Jurgen Klopp decided to change things up. Brought in Luis Diaz in the second half, brought in Gravenberch for Curtis Jones. And those changes really affected Liverpool's play. They improved Liverpool's play. Because even though Luis Diaz did not have an instant impact in the game, his presence there, it definitely forced Kyle Walker to stay up there. It forced Ruben Diaz to pay more attention in that direction. So if you see for Liverpool's goal, it was his ball across. His ball across with the defense of Man City expanded. That got to, was it Cody Gakpo? That he passed to Salah. Salah passed to Trent Alexander-Arnold, and good touch and good goal. I felt that City will be very disappointed. They'll see this as 2 points lost because they had the game under control. Doku was a menace on his side. He had Trent Alexander-Arnold and Matip on toast. The only problem was that Liverpool recognized that threat very early, so they put players behind those players. So anytime Doku had a one-on-one, obviously he's going to beat the first man. But then behind him, there's another player there he has to deal with. So more often times he found himself turning back into midfield, turning back and passing the ball away. Or his crosses were just being cleared out for corner kicks or being blocked. It was a good strategy from Jurgen Klopp. It worked eventually, but he would have been disappointed with the way his team played the entire game. Pep Guardiola would be disappointed that they didn't come up with 3 points, but it was a very interesting game to watch tactically, to see how both managers responded to how each of them was going about their play, each of them was going about their business in the game, how they were tweaking things. And this is how top managers play. They respond to how the other manager has set up in the game, respond to the changes they've made.
And prior to the game, you should see the mutual respect from both managers. I mean, you listen to them talk at the press conference, you can sense that they respect each other's job, and it was clear.
They do, and it's accounted for their success. You learn from other managers. No matter how good you are, you have a lot to learn as a manager. So picking up from the best in the business is never a bad thing. I also like to share a word about Erling Haaland. 50 goals in the Premier League. The quickest ever player to get to that.
Smashing Andy Cole's record.
Yeah, smashing is
65 games.
Smashing is absolutely the right word for it. He's been fantastic since he got to the Premier League, and I really expect him to grow from here.
I mean, Sadi, so for the fourth time in the Premier League era, it was both managers were going to this clash. Is it that Pep who is topping the table, or he's second, or it's the other way around, Klopp topping the table, or he's second? It was the fourth time it was happening. I mean, I call them the finest brains you can have in the English Premier League. I don't know what you say.
Certainly, they are the finest coaches on planet Earth. You really rate them high up there. If you had to mention top 5 coaches in the world, come on, you definitely mention
you put them there.
These two plus others. But look, Klopp had it wrong in the first half. He started a midfield trio that got only 1 tackle and 0 interceptions the entire 45 minutes. That's why Edwin highlighted that fact that the first 45 minutes was all City, guns blazing, because City had an extra man in midfield and always had the Rodri giving out the beautiful pass to Doku to cause all sorts of problems to whoever he was facing. Look, Doku beat Trent the entire time except on 4 occasions. That is when Trent was able to put in a tackle.
Yeah.
It was all Doku. It was a Doku show.
Yeah, he actually had, 11 successful dribbles in a game. No player in the Premier League this season
And
has
very
had
direct.
more.
Like, when he picks the ball, you can just
He's
sense, as a right back, he's coming at you.
He's coming at
And
you.
it just puts that fear in you. Like, look, you need to up your game. You can't just switch off.
Yeah, and in the second half, I feel that Klopp noticed that Curtis was not helping.
Yeah, so he had to yank him off.
And brought in Ryan. And Ryan was the game changer. Grafenberg was the game changer because he literally stepped up to add some form of grit to that midfield. He was a kind of enforcer because Szoboszlai and McAllister were corporates in the action that led to the City goal because Szoboszlai just allowed Ake to feel as if he's prime Messi, beating him. McAllister should have stepped up to the plate to tackle, but he also didn't, and allowed for Erling Haaland to break a record that, come on, we all saw coming that he was going to break it. We just didn't know that whether he was going to add to the fact that he has scored more than 1 goal in 25% of the games he has played as an EPL player, which is crazy. For a player like that.
Yeah, that's ridiculous.
It's ridiculous. And you have him coming at you and Alisson decides to also have his own mini show. Look, for all wants and purpose here, that second goal should have stood.
Yeah.
Because look at it again, Alisson went for the ball. If he had gotten the ball, he did not want to punch the ball. He wanted to, grab the ball. And Akanji was also in flight. If he had grabbed the ball, he would have come down with the ball, and anything from there would have been a foul. But you missed the ball, and the ball ended up in the net, and you are telling us it's a foul, which is wrong. And I feel that also changed the course of the game because after that, Trent got his wonder strike, and he silenced everyone, feeling he had done so well in the game. no, he was very problematic in the game.
Quick point about Alisson. He had a shaky game.
Yeah.
His kicking was not on point. Throwing out distribution was very bad. And it puts Liverpool under a lot of pressure. Obviously, he was responsible partly for the first goal, not because he failed to clear the ball, but also I felt the Haaland shot was very savable on his part. But then he redeemed himself. There was a move in the second half in which Citi had a chance and he saved the ball.
Yeah.
And that resulted in the counter that
Yeah.
got Liverpool the win. So he redeemed himself in the end. I still feel he is the best Premier League goalkeeper at the moment. And he showed his quality, but he also showed some sides of him that Klopp might not be too happy with.
Okay. All right. Speaking of managers not too happy with their players, Mauricio Pochettino, is the latest manager who is, I think, now he's still furious with his team for that performance they put out there against Newcastle United at the St. James's Park. 2 big errors. Thiago Silva sleeping on the job. Reece James, I don't know what he was doing. Let's check out the highlights. All right, so Chelsea falling to Newcastle United. Chelsea fans, I'm not too sure what they make about their performance. After that 4 draw with Manchester City, people were thinking that Chelsea will be looking to pick up some positives from that game and build on that heading into that Newcastle game. First half, it was a 1-0 draw. Raheem Sterling with a very good free kick. Second half, I don't know what the game plan or what the pep talk was from Mauricio Pochettino. It was a very, very big collapse from the boys. Ed, quick one.
Look, it's easy to criticize the Chelsea players, and I understand there were poor performances all over the pitch, but you've got to credit Newcastle as well. They really controlled the game, and this is a depleted Newcastle team as well. Eddie Howe spoke about it, how many players they're missing, but they showed a lot of grit, a lot of fight that Chelsea didn't. And Mauricio Pochettino was right. They were very soft in a lot of those challenges. Challenges you expect players to be going for, rushing at. They didn't show that at all. I'd like to pinpoint 2 good performances and one really poor one. Very quick one. 2 on Newcastle side. Gordon. Anthony Gordon was fantastic for Newcastle. Had a lot of joy. Not many wingers get a lot of joy against Reece James. He certainly had a good game. Just his dribbling, his passing, his crossing. Obviously, he got an assist and a goal as well. Fantastic performance. But the player I felt had the best performance on the day was Kieran Trippier. Faced up against Sterling, who basically touched Kyle Walker the last time. He did not let Sterling beat him once. One-on-one battles, it did not happen. His crossing was on point, his passing was on point, set pieces, gave Newcastle an attacking threat around that side. On the other hand, the right back for Chelsea, Reece James, had a poor game. For Chelsea's captain, you'd expect him to have a calmness about him, a lot of discipline. He made 2 ridiculous decisions. First, yellow card, kicking the ball away. Unacceptable. Second yellow card, you give the ball away, fine. You do not foul the player knowing you're on a yellow card. He did that, and it shows some inexperience, which encapsulates the whole Chelsea squad. There's a lot of inexperience there, but there doesn't seem to be the willingness to learn from that. I feel it will come in time, but right now there seems to be a soft underbelly of Chelsea that Pochettino needs to watch out for.
Okay, so that's what happened at the St. James's Park. We'll take a quick break. When we come back, we've got highlights from the Turf Moor and also from the Brentford Community Stadium where Arsenal beats Brentford to go top of the table. This is Citi TV. Don't change your dial. Welcome back. This is Citi TV and this is Scorecard with me, Gabby Affair. Many thanks for watching. You can send in your thoughts on the WhatsApp text lines. We'll display them in a bit. We started with the CAF Champions League, the Ghana Premier League. We're now with the English Premier League. But let's get to Turf Moor and get the highlights between Burnley taking on West Ham United. And also at the Brentford Community Stadium, it was Brentford taking on Arsenal. Back-to-back highlights for you. Kai Havertz with big 3 points for the Gunners. His second goal ever since joining Arsenal. Mohamed Kudus is also doing big things for West Ham United. 2 big assists. And I love that second cross from Kudus. Edwin.
Yeah, great technique from Kudus on that cross. Wonderful. He made Souček's job much easier. I felt he was a bit hard done by that penalty call.
Yeah.
Very, very soft decision. I think it was called to make up for an earlier call in the first half that the referee didn't give. That was a clearer penalty in my opinion. Burnley had the lead and they let it slip, as we've seen a lot of times this season. They can't keep clean sheets. They can't keep teams from scoring. And that first goal, that first assist from Kudus, it encapsulates why they are in their position. You have 4 players around Kudus, who is a wonderful dribbler, by the way. But there are 4 players around him. There's no way they should be allowing him to get to the byline and crossing that ball. And he did produce some magic, and West Ham were back.
Commentator says quick thinking, quick feet.
Exactly, and you have to account for that if you are Burnley. Your scouting has to be on point.
Yeah.
Your video analysis, and you should know that Kudus is a player who can produce such magic. He did so twice, and West Ham got the 3 points. For the game between Brentford and Arsenal, Arsenal did well to hold on to a game in which Brentford were playing a low block. They were playing so deep defensively that there was barely any space for them to get through. And they had to hold on. They had to suffer. They had to wait. But the quality showed. In the end, Saka, who had not had the best of games before then, produced one moment of quality, just as he did against Chelsea in that game. And Havertz was on the end of it. He spoke about how they had worked on it at training so many times that he thought, if I moved into this position, maybe Saka would find me. And he found him. And it was a goal that Havertz needed. It was a goal Arsenal needed. They are top of the Premier League. Now it's up to them to stay there and keep that momentum.
Let's now get to the Italian Serie A, and we start with AC Milan beating Fiorentina by 1-0, and also Napoli putting 2 past Atalanta. Kvicha Kvaratskhelia, again, he started good things for Napoli this season. Let's back-to-back highlights from the Italian Serie A. All right, so Napoli 4th on the table. Kvicha Kvaratskhelia with his 4th goal for Napoli this season. Seri?
Yeah, look.
Champions back to winning ways.
They needed it so badly, and it looks like they have the new coach bounce, which is seemingly changing the attitude of the players, because formerly you could see that when they even struggle to get a goal, it's not all the players who go to celebrate. But Atlanta is a very difficult place to even go and get a goal. It's let alone get a win. They actually scored 3 goals, but one was ruled out for VAR reasons. Hey, you've got to give them that kind of respect. Going to one of the most difficult grounds in Italy to go and get a much-needed win, because as it stands, it looks like if they don't take care and start doing things well, the league will just slip out of their hands even before the year turns. It's a very important win for them, and it takes them a little up the table. But for Atalanta, they need to also make sure that when they get onto that pitch and meet the big boys, they get really serious. They met, I think, Juventus earlier this season. It was a boring 0-0 game. When you meet the big boys at home and you also count yourself as a big boy, you need to play as such. They give them too much respect, and sometimes it ends up badly. For instance, this kind of comical goal that they almost gave up in that sequence of play is really bad. They need to... Gasperini, I hope I got his name right.
Gianpiero Gasperini, forward-thinking coach. Forward ever.
Forward ever.
Yeah,
backwards,
back pass.
never.
You don't do a back pass in
That is why he's going to have...
get into the team.
He's going to have a problem with my man who gave the back pass there. Because they play some of the most exciting football in Italy. But now, looking at AC Milan, AC Milan are doing something really interesting this season. They also want to get back to the top of Italian football. They've been getting the needed hints here and there, made some excellent signings during the summer, or in fact, the lot from Chelsea who are really helping the team.
You mean the Chelsea rejects? Put it that way.
They are not Chelsea rejects.
They are.
We can actually...
What was he doing in the Chelsea
team? No, we can at least mention four people.
Doing the Chelsea team?
Christian Pulisic was...
Olivier Giroud, I think that he paid his dues, to be honest, for
Yes,
Chelsea,
yes,
because
yes.
he won what? The Europa League?
Yes.
He won the Champions League with Chelsea.
As did Pulisic, by the way.
Exactly.
But he's still in the brackets of a reject.
No, he's not a rejected player. You see, he was mostly injured. Same applies to Loftus-Cheek.
Okay.
They were mostly visiting the physio. But now, in a much more relaxed league, which is not so fast-paced like the EPL, you now see them
You
shining.
find players who thrive there.
Yeah. Yes, and it's really helping them. They've got big games coming up as well, and I think it's only forward for them from this point.
Okay.
They've really surprised me this season. They've really surprised me. I thought the guys were not going to perform, but hey, they're actually performing.
Okay. Now let's get to one other man who is on a mission, doing big things for his club side. That's Bayern Munich. Harry Kane, he scored again for Bayern Munich. And I tell you what, Harry Kane will win the Champions League. Let's check our highlights, back-to-back highlights. What a waste to score your first goal. I mean, look, just walk with the ball into the net. That's what Dortmund just literally did. But I mean, I'm too excited for Harry Kane. I think that his start in the German league has really gone well so far for Bayern Munich, doing big things under Thomas Tuchel. Edwin?
Yeah, that was one of the easiest goals he scored this season, a tap in. But the fact that he found himself in that position is what impresses me the most. His movement has always been one of his biggest attributes as a striker. And he's showing the form that he showed at Tottenham, at Bayern Munich. He's even performing a lot better than I expected him to. And it's really helping them go up the table, especially with Bayer Leverkusen in such fantastic form. They can't afford to drop any more points, and it looks like being a very interesting Bundesliga season. I feel that Bayern have got over their early season jitters where they were conceding almost for fun. They were struggling to score, and I think they are scoring goals. In this game, they got one. They didn't concede, which was the more important point for me. I think Tuchel will be very happy with this result away from home.
Okay. Sadi, that's one?
Well, Dortmund are a very funny team because in this particular game, I don't know why you would sit at home, concede 2 before you prompt yourself that the game has started and then come back in the first half.
It reminds me of what they did last season. In the final game.
The final game.
Yeah.
Just win the game and win the title, and they bottled it.
No, they decided to pay an old debt to a big client. But for me, Dortmund have enough quality in this league to be doing much better than what they are doing. For you to be able to come back from 2 goals down in the first half to win that particular half 3-2 shows that there's so much quality in that side. And they need to just step it up. Look at what Leverkusen is doing this season. Tremendous.
Yeah.
They won their last game as well, 3-0. They keep scoring for fun. Among the European teams, they are even scoring more goals than the likes of Citi. I think they are next to PSV. These 2 teams in Europe now are scoring for fun. Last I checked, PSV had scored 45 or so goals. Leverkusen has already crossed the 40-goal mark, and we are not yet halfway through the season, which shows that if Dortmund do not get their acts together, they are not even going to be second in the league that they think that they have in their pocket all the time. The position they have in their pocket all the time, always coming up second, trying to tell us that without Bayern Munich, they would be the next favorite back. Now, the tides in the Bundesliga are changing, and they need to change with the times as well. If not, they will be caught lacking. Okay.
You can also send in your thoughts on the WhatsApp text lines on what you think about Bayern season, Dortmund seasons. I mean, who you think is going to pick up the title. Now let's get to the Spanish La Liga. Barcelona did drop points against Rayo Vallecano when they went away. Let's check out the highlights of that. All right, so Barcelona dropping points against Rayo Vallecano, and that Rayo Vallecano actually have a Ghanaian player in Abdul Moment in that defense. Barca's rivals, Madrid, they put 4 past Cadiz. So what it means is that it's 4 points between Barcelona and Madrid. I mean, Barca dropping points again at home?
For Barcelona, international break was not kind to them one bit. They don't have Ter Stegen in post. They've lost one of the marquee players for the team as well through injury. Going into this game, they were very light in the team. They had to bring in some guys from the La Masia to assist in beefing up the team, to be able to even get the numbers to even play. But on the side of Vallecano love playing Barcelona for some strange reasons. If you're looking for that bogey team that would always put up a performance and then try and get something off Barcelona, it's Vallecano. And they've been doing it season in, season out. So going into this particular game at the home of Vallecano, personally, I was expecting Barcelona to lose, not even to get a draw. Yeah.
So you mean a point is even?
A point is something they should be really thankful for, because this is a team that beats them when they have their full complement on the pitch. And now that they were short of their first choice goalkeeper, a lot of the plugs in the team, the Xavi's first choice, all out injured, or something weird is happening to the team.
Okay.
And I think they really need to adapt their style of play to the current crop of players that they have available till the injured ones return. If not so, they are going to be allowing in a lot of goals. We've seen it happen with someone like Bayern Munich when they did not have their number one goalie. What happened to them? It was that terrible, that bad. Okay. And they are also not in the situation where they can go onto the market in, say, January, in a few weeks' time, in some 4 weeks' time, to sign players. They are now trying to work things out because of the injury to Pedri. Gavi, sorry.
Yeah. The ACL.
Gavi, to bring in Victor Roque. They are trying to push their mathematics and accounting books into place so that they could get that over the line in January. And it's beginning to look difficult for them. But in the La Liga, I think there might be a Leicester City coming through in the likes of Girona, because they are really setting the mark, and the two big teams, as we know them, are trying to rather catch up. And it's really exciting this time round, not to only get the Barcelonas and
Madrid just winning the titles,
and Atletico Madrid as well, but you also have a Girona coming in through scoring for fun. Barcelona really need to get their act together. They are also involved in a lot of continental affairs, which is dicey for them. But let's see how they pull through, especially in the Champions League, and we'll be able to decide for them.
All right. Let me just read one or two messages that have come by. This one says, good evening, Gabby and your pundits. Impressive performance today from Eric Ten Hag and his players. Thanks to Alejandro Garnacho for scoring that awesome goal. Says, Manaman say so from Doma and Hinkro. Another one to say is, good evening, guys. I'm Ike from Tema. Please, just a quick reminder that Trent was the man of the match in that game.
Undeservedly.
It depends on who is giving the man of the match, because for the EPL
the debates will always continue. But let's end the show with the goal. You say what? The Puskas challenge.
Contender.
Puskas contender. So that's Alejandro Garnacho today against Everton. Just quick one, then we'll come back. Amen. So between this goal and Wayne Rooney's goal against Manchester City and Cristiano Ronaldo's goal against Juventus, which one would you pick? I'm picking Ronaldo's goal. End of conversation. Edwin?
Superb goal. That's all I have to say. It should win goal of the season.
Yeah, I mean, the technique was serious.
Look, it's a wonderful goal. The technique was right, but a lot of luck had to go into it as well. Look at the flip side. Yeah. Let's say he missed the ball. We'd be here laughing at him. So the element of luck in this one is more than, I would say, technique. Because if you take a look at Raheem Sterling's goal, that is a knuckle ball. Okay. The technique there is much higher than this one. So it's a beautiful goal. As for it being a beautiful goal, let's just face facts. But for goal of the season,
that's how you wrap up today's edition of Scorecard. My name is Gabi Ofe, sitting in for your regular host, Benjamin Nketia. I had Edwin Kwakofi and also Sedinam Edmond joining me in studio to do the analysis. Many, many thanks for choosing Citi TV. Catch you same time next week.